Welcome to WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. It's a 2 for Tuesday, and we are going into the second round of voting for Speaker of the House. That's right. No matter who Republicans get to be their second Speaker of the House this year, they were unable to elect them in one go. Yet another embarrassment for an incredibly embarrassing group of criminals. How are y'all doing? I assume... Oh, the anti-corporate is super early. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, I assume we're all gonna come trickling in. Look, I'm just setting up this puppy because I refuse to miss it. But the stream is coming from the Washington Post. Let me give them their praise here. Stream is coming from the Washington Post. We're gonna watch it together. I will heckle as much as I can and answer any questions you may have. Or let me take another whack at that. I will attempt to answer any questions you may have and perhaps answer them and perhaps entertain in failing to answer them. We'll see. To start, it might help if I have my transitions down. There we go. First session of the 118th Congress. Is that correct? Is that even correct? I don't know. Man, I have to say, AC. My favorite part about today is that no matter what else happens, Jim Jordan has been embarrassed. He deserves to be. He allowed students in his care to be sexually abused because he didn't want to deal with a what would have been to him a minor scandal in his career. So he let people get their genitals played with against their will by a bad person. Oh my gosh, people are piling in. Hello, Looney Tunes, good to see you. Squisher King, hello. Is that at all related to the Robin Williams movie The Fisher King? Let me know. Pinkerbell, hello there. Vanguardians incoming. Oh, I do kind of like that as a name. Isn't this the first session? Or isn't it the first session, says the anti-corporatist. I honestly don't know. No, I don't know either. It's very weird. So here's the deal. Jim Jordan did not make it first time around. Hakeem Jeffries did very, very well. And my eye continues to swell. That's all the updates that we have. All of them. But don't worry, we theoretically, in the next few minutes here, we'll be getting another round of votes. It has been so embarrassing. Just think about this for a moment. Before the debacle that was Kevin McCarthy's, what was it, 14, 15, 16 rounds of voting, however long it took him. We hadn't had it take more than one round in like a century. Now, in the same year, Republicans are taking yet again multiple rounds to elect a speaker. So set aside the answer of what would have been the best outcome today for us. And just look for a moment at the reality that we are left with, and let's look at what is useful about this. What is useful about this is we can take the events of today and make the pitch to voters: Republicans cannot govern. They're literally incapable of it. We can disagree about whether or not the things they pitch would be of any use to us. I think they would not be. I think they would be very harmful. But setting aside that question, We can simply say it's irrelevant because they're not capable of organizing themselves to govern anything. They can't get anything done. They can't even work amongst themselves to get anything done. That's who these people are. So if you have genuine problems in your life, voter that I am talking to and trying to convince to vote for a grown-up, real, genuine adult party, there really is only one choice, and that's the Democrats. That's what you got to vote for in 2024. I know you're proudly purple. You don't have a red party in the U.S. You just don't. You've got a collection of con artists, and that is the Republican Party. They are not a serious vote. If you have serious problems, you have to go to serious people, and that ain't the Republicans. Case in point, they cannot even elect a Speaker of the House. It is supposed to be a layup. What have the Democrats been doing? Voting for the same guy every time. You give the Democrats a majority, they will elect one quickly. It'll be Hakeem Jeffries, and he will do a normal job, and the government will run. You put Republicans in charge, what happens? Every time they get even a little bit of power, they use it to shut down the government, cancel people's paychecks, cancel people's health coverage, I believe in some cases, slow up military appointments and promotions. They cannot even elect a speaker. So that's the benefit to us of today, is being able to hammer that message home. What I would recommend you do is go to the most semi-political people you know, the people that occasionally ask light questions about politics. In the next 5-10 minutes, text them. Mention what's happening right now. Make this something they're mildly curious about. Make this at least something they text you later to follow up on. Whatever happened? How many votes did it take? Just text something small. Ha ha ha. Already going into 2 votes. Jim Jordan doesn't appear to have a firm grasp of the Republican Party. Say whatever you got to say to give him a little hook. But this is a great time to get people into politics. If you get people to genuinely follow this, to pay attention to this, and when I say this, I mean politics in general, but this moment in particular is very illustrative, as well as being immensely entertaining. If you get people following politics, they will lean more and more progressive. As they say, reality has a left-leaning bias. So yes, now's a great time. Send out your texts. Get all the semi-political people, the people who can appreciate that Speaker of the House is an important position, even if they don't know exactly what it does. That's fine. Get them all following this, looking for updates on it. Let's see what y'all have to say. B Cat and K, hello there. Wireless Mike, hello there. Soul Life, hello. Good to see you. It took like 9 searches. Oh, let me go back up. Up. Yeah, the anti-corporatist. Sadly, yes, there's only one choice, and boy, don't they know it. Yeah. Environmental Coffee House. Let me put something on screen for a second there, Sandy. 1 second. I'm trying to draw you. It's going so-so. I wanted to have this, ooh. Let's see if I've done this. Oh, that's why my RAM is getting eaten up. I have Premiere open still. I've been editing Wicked Fight Night and having an absolute ball, but it is a time suck. It's a it's a great way to lose an entire evening of work. If Asprite is running, then I should be fine. There we go. Anyway, Sandy, let me pull up your picture. We're going to go to export, 1000%, apply pixel ratio. Yeah. Stand by. Gonna goof around. Here's what I got. As far as I got with you. What do you think? Do you have suggestions? How can I fix your hair up to be more your unique hairstyle? Bearing in mind that it's going to be blowing around. I'm not changing the clothes, for the record. I'm dressing you like it's Miami Vice. That is a that's a style choice I'm sticking with. I think the whole world, if they could dress, I gotta remember when my birthday is, and then on it, I will request that everybody dresses like it's Miami Vice. I want to see rolled up, oversized suit jackets and neon colors and pastels as well. Anyway, there you are. Let's go back to comments. Tinkerbell, oh my god, so cute. Ah, delighted. I'm glad you like it. I gotta tell you, I have been getting in more practice with the pixel art than I intended going into this project. I really wanted to shirk off all the work onto computers. Mars Falcon, I hope nobody spikes their juice boxes at recess with pro molester ecstasy to try to rally support for Jordan. Ah. Shit, man. Oh, God. Mars Falcon, I usually butcher your funny comments because I realize the funny part halfway through reading them. I apologize. This is why I encourage you all to start your own stuff because I enjoy what you say. The anti-corporatist, you should use some AI for that, Jake. Speak of the devil, I do. I use two programs. One is called Ace Sprite, and that just lets you draw, like the mouse snaps to pixels. So when you're drawing something that's only 100 pixels wide, you don't have to have a very steady hand. But the other thing that I use, I'm going to attempt this. We'll see how it works. A business deal with these folks where they give me money or promotion of some sort. But the other program I use is only $15 right now. You could buy it if you want and do the exact same thing. But it is called, I'm stalling while I try to think of the correct name. It's called Smack Studio. And it's a fighting game, strangely enough, where you can upload your own characters. But they let you export the art. So what you do, you draw the character, and it uses software to predict what movements will be. So for a jab or whatever. But it doesn't have to be attacks. It could be, instead of jab, you could switch it to pick up coffee cup. And it fills in the blanks. So you can then export that into Sprite, make it a GIF, put that into Premiere, put it over a background, and bada boom, you have pixel progressives. That's what I'm doing right now. So in answer to your question, you're right. I should do that, and I am doing that. It is like golfing in Caddyshack with that thing that does all the work for you. Soul Life, in fact, I only like channels that either move me or need the algo boost, the anti-corporatist. Good lad. Hey, speaking of AI, we should talk about something you can do right now. I'll put this in the description. Open, let's see, AI public comment. Folks, right now, the government has an open comment period on how we should handle AI. You remember how we were talking earlier? And I'd like this conversation to take two parts. We're going to do a little bass backwards, though. I'm going to start with what to do after we talk. After we talk, whatever it is that sways you, however you feel that AI should be handled in the United States, at least, go to the pinned comment, the link in the pinned comment, and tell the government. Meanwhile, what is it they're asking? They are asking how should we legislate AI? It's a great question. It's the perfect thing for them to be asking the populace. I'm delighted that they're doing that. Let's weigh in. We've talked about this before. I have specifically mentioned some leeriness regarding AI. But I'll tell you what I like. I like AI that tells you what it is up front. So as of now, unless you guys sway me to say something else, I'm going to be telling them that I want two things with AI. Number one, I want it clearly labeled. I want it to be illegal to put out AI art without making it clear that it was used or that it was created using AI. That requires you to put a strict definition on what AI is, but they're going to have to do that anyway. So there we go. Little tag at the front, whatever. Other thing I want is for the original content makers, or whatever was used to train the AI, to have a right to charge for their labor. So if you take 1,000 pictures of kids playing baseball, and you use that to train your computer software to understand what a baseball game looks like, all those pictures that you used, the picture takers need to be compensated. And I don't think that'll mean it's the end of AI. I just simply mean that there are going to be, there's going to be a second industry that springs up, or I assume there's going to be a second industry that springs up where it collects these things for training purposes, compensates people for their pictures, and then sells them in bulk to training companies. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? The discussion, as we wait for the session to continue, the discussion is AI. Let's solve this together. What should we demand that the government? What restrictions should the government put on it, and what requirements? Wireless Mike says Stefanik actually said he would be the voice for the voiceless. Referenced how he's a winner, and even said something about on the wrestling mat. My God, that woman is cartoonishly stupid. Oh, God. So Elise Stefanik apparently said he would be a voice for the voiceless. If you're not aware, or even if you are, I'm going to really rub it in. He specifically covered up, Jim Jordan specifically covered up allegations of sexual assault from the team doctor when he was an assistant wrestling coach at a university. Good God. The anti-corporatist says, in my opinion, pantsuits are largely just horrible. Women don't ape us in our monkey suits. We don't like them. LMAO. Just 180 degrees wrong. I'm sorry to say, the anti-corporatist. A rare miss from you. But no, you're semi-right about the pantsuit. I would say, listen, a suit with a skirt is a good look, and some pantsuits can work, but they do take effort. But as for the gentleman enjoying suits, no, sir. I love it dearly. I will proudly wear a suit always. Looney Tunes, unless AI tries to steal our job, effing take my job, AI. Take it, please. My monetary compensation has nothing to do, much like Sandy's philosophy. My monetary compensation has nothing to do with whether or not I talk to you guys. So if there is an AI thing that can just take care of the making of money for me, great. Yes. We just need to make sure that it's not owned by some filthy rich person who's going to take all the money and all the benefits of that labor. But, drawing half my cartoon for me, please do, by all means. Rare L for Auntie says Looney Tunes 9000. Yes. And I'm not going to keep asking him questions because usually he ends up convincing me to be on his side of things, and I already own a bunch of suits. I've invested too much. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious says, what happens in the gym stays in the gym, from Jim Jordan. Correct. The anti-corporatist. I have a couple of badass suits, but otherwise I'm not down. I mean, I'm going to set down my kayfabe for a second. I think, honestly, it depends on, with personal style, it really does depend on your body type and your lifestyle. If you are in hot environments, you're more likely to wear shorts, and more importantly, if you've got the calves for it, you know, you can't be walking around on these bendy straws that I got and go rocking the cargo shorts. It just doesn't work. I'm gonna need slacks. But if you got the gams, by all means. Well, they will hopefully be back in a moment. In the meantime, oh God. Oh, I thought they were starting again. They're not. Let's go to some MSNBC. Whoop. Okay, let's go to some MSNBC, huh? If I'm not former Representative Upton, as in Fred Upton? Anyway, they've got some interesting commentary. The quote is, I don't think that Jordan is capable of getting bipartisanship on major issues. Understanding that the major issues they're talking about are whether or not half the constituents of Democrats are allowed to exist. So no, I don't think he can get bipartisanship.
Joining us now is former Republican Chairman Michael Steele.
This was from earlier today.
Former press secretary to then House Speaker Boehner, Brendan Buck, and former Republican Congressman Fred Upton. So, Brendan Buck, let me ask you first. You know Jim Jordan. Is the Jim Jordan who refused any compromises going to be able to, if he became Speaker, sit down, negotiate with the President of the United States, with the Senate, both houses, both parties, and come up with, you know, a continuing resolution? He's been against them all along.
Well, the reality is that's the job. And the Jim Jordan that we've known for many, many years is incompatible with the job of Speaker. And that's something that he's going to have to figure out. Very quickly after we get a Speaker, if we get one today, you're going to have to fund the government. And at some point, that requires working with the president, working with Democrats in the Senate. That is the type of thing that Jim Jordan has worked his entire career against. But that's where these two things are going to clash. You cannot be a bomb thrower and only tear things down. That my old boss, John Boehner, said very clearly, he's never seen anybody tear things down more and never build things up as he did with Jim Jordan. But you can't operate like that. What Jim Jordan has done his entire career has amassed a lot of power without any real responsibility. And this is a complete change for him. Now the weight of the House, the weight of the country is on him. People will be looking for him to get things done. I think he's going to find out the hard way. Just fighting doesn't do anything. Eventually, you have to get things done.
Fred, you served for more than 35 years in the House. Take us inside the caucus. What we're hearing from our reporter, Kyle Stewart, who's inside the chamber watching the vote count, is that Lota, Lawler, Rutherford, Bacon altogether are likely moderate holdouts.
Yeah, I would say that that's pretty accurate. There'll be others as well that may vote for somebody else and not for Jordan. I expect, it's going to be, as I say, a squeaker speaker election here. I don't think Jordan is going to get it on the first ballot. I'm not sure that he's going to get it on the second or third ballot either. A lot to be determined by. So how many votes against him are there going to be on the Republican side? All the Democrats are going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries. So are there going to be 10? Are there going to be 15 Republicans that vote no on the first round? And then on the second round, assuming that that's accurate, how many of those stick for the second ballot and maybe even the third? And then after the third ballot, then I think they have to go to a plan C, if in fact Jordan.
Good Lord, I hope there's multiple ballots after this. The more ridiculous it is, the worse it looks for Republicans and the better it is for the country. I just want to say real quick, understand when they were talking about, oh, Jim Jordan, he likes to tear things down. Yeah, he likes to tear down democracy. He is an insurrectionist. This would be making a traitor to the country. Just to be, I know we're laughing at, oh, he's having a hard time and ha ha ha. But just to be clear, the reason that there are some moderate holdouts is because this guy is an actual traitor, that we would be making the third most powerful person in the United States. The fact that he's even up for consideration means we need to get rid of all Republicans. 100% of them need to be gone. This is not a viable party. This is like saying, how many AIDS-infected cells can we have in our body? 0. We can have 0 and be safe. We might be able to get by with the T cells we have doing a hell of a job, and we might just survive this thing. But the fact that we have any should be extraordinarily alarming. Extraordinarily alarming. The fact that Jim Jordan is even up for consideration, I mean, if we're being real, the fact that he's not currently in a jail cell awaiting trial is a problem. But the fact that he is in the consideration for leadership amongst our leaders, a traitor, that needs to be addressed immediately. That tells us all we need to know. We have to get rid of the Republicans. Just gone, all of them. Only one way to do that. There really is, and it's boring, but it's a lot of people voting for anybody but a Republican. It's as simple as that. You just have to vote different, and you have to convince people who don't really care about this stuff to care about it and to vote for anybody but a Republican. If you hear that somebody in your circle is planning on ever voting for a Republican ever again, then they do not understand things that they need to understand. And guess what? You've been deputized to be an evangelical for sanity, basically. You have to explain to them what it is they don't understand, because they have a fundamental misunderstanding of what is happening around them right now, and they need to know the truth. So just to be clear, that is why there are some holdouts. There's nothing moderate about these people. These people would vote to genocide trans people, and they wouldn't lose a minute of sleep. Not 1 minute. They'd be like Tina Turner on the river. They're just not losing a minute of sleep. But they know how dangerous for them it would be to not live in a democracy. For us all.
Jordan does not get the 217. That's when they'll look at someone like McHenry or Cole to see if, we have divided government. Is there a way that they can provide some relief in some of these rules, bipartisanship, I'll call it, that might lure some Democrats to then say enough is enough. Let's join with most of the Republicans to try and get things done. You've got some huge issues. I mean, let's face it, the world is afire between Israel and Ukraine. You got a CR.
Hold up. That really is something we could be doing. Let us make sure that we are writing Democrats at the end of every evening, let's say. Write your representatives, and hopefully they include some Democrats. If not, I apologize that you live in terrible conditions. But if you do have representatives or Democratic folks representing you, write them and make damn sure they don't do anything as dumb as Democrats of the past would absolutely have done, and support some lunatic from the right wing. Don't do that. Just let them boil in their own filth. Now, this is where I will admit, maybe they know something I don't. Maybe they're going to do a special deal, yada, yada, yada. Didn't we have a deal with McCarthy to not shut the government down Wasn't that part of the negotiations and blah, 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 blah. You cannot deal with these people. Republicans are a bunch of criminal scum. They are like parodies of criminals. Most criminals I've met actually have some shred of honor. Not Republicans. They are the most dastardly creatures America has coughed out, and you cannot make a deal with them. So don't, and encourage your representatives not to. Vote for Jeffries, that's that. And we don't even vote for Jeffries, by the way, as long as we're at it, with the intention of getting him elected. Maybe we will. That would be hilarious and fantastic. But we do it to show that we can follow a plan. We do it to show that we are organized. We are voting for Jeffries as a demonstration to the American people of what it should look like when you are running a government efficiently. We're doing it as an audition, in other words, for 2024.
We're a continuing resolution where no negotiations have taken place for the last couple of weeks, a looming deadline again on November 17th. And remember, whatever they decide, you've got to get 60 votes in the Senate to get it done. So it's not just a Republican vote where it's you got to get bipartisanship. And I don't think that Jordan is capable of getting bipartisanship on really any major issue, certainly based on the years that I served with him.
And Michael Steele, let's talk about that. You've got people like McHenry. Patrick McHenry is the interim Speaker pro tem. There has been talk of Democrats getting together with the other Republicans, the more moderate Republicans, let's say, and authorizing him to have the power to bring something to the floor, to bring a supplemental for Israel and Ukraine.
Pinkerbell saying, as long as the Democrats keep voting for Jeffries, the Republicans look more ridiculous by the hour. Exactly. Every time we get the same number of Democrats voting for Jeffries, it's like saying, this could have been over already, once again. It was hilarious with the Kevin McCarthy vote. PNC Bio, I figure maybe everybody just got a turn now. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's how they do it with the Republicans. Mars Falcon, old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he, He called for his clowns, and he called for his votes, and he called for his ballots 3. I hope so. I hope it's 3 entire ballots. I hope it's more. F it. B-Cat and K, those people aren't in my circle anymore because they're very selfish in my experience. Yeah. Wireless Mike, Republican, circus, clown, show. Yes. Sonia, hello there. Good to see you, Sonia B. Goblin mode, well put. Mars Falcon, you know Republicans always becoming more extreme on a daily basis. If McCarthy took 15 ballots, these overachievers gotta go at least 16. I think you might be right. PNC Bio, y'all do government in goblin mode. Imagine what you could accomplish if you cooperated. Land on moon, etc. Yeah. In a moment, we're going to talk about why Republicans don't want government to work. Speaking of, because they could accomplish things, but we're assuming that they want good things to happen. They don't. They want chaos. Oh hell, we'll talk about it later. Let's finish this clip.
Into the floor. Right now, he doesn't even have that power. There's no organization of the House. Secondly, Mike McCall, from Texas, he is the Republican chair of Homeland Security. He has worked with Democrats for years and years on foreign policy. He's used to doing bipartisan things exactly on that. He's, a tough guy, but someone that I could see the Democrats supporting as a backup if we're 3 rounds down. That's a long way off, though. Michael?
It is. I don't see any of that as viable because if it were, that's the first play. Why not go and create that narrative on the front end? Nobody in the House wants Jim Jordan to speak. Can we just be honest about that? Nobody, not Republicans, not Democrats. But the Republicans have backed themselves into such a corner, certainly to Brendan's point, that where are they to go? They could have tacked very easily to a Tom Cole or or anyone else, but they didn't. And they haven't, because that vote isn't there. At the end of the day, the expectation, and we all need to be very clear about this, and it goes to exactly what Brendan was saying at the beginning, how John Boehner pegged Jim Jordan from day one. Jim Jordan is not about governing this House or managing this House. This is about how they're going to try to push through an agenda that has no resiliency beyond the House itself. It's going to die on its way to the Senate. Yep. So what does that mean for us?
So I'll tell you what it means for Republicans. They are not using any of the time that they are being paid to be in the House to legislate. They are only using it to campaign. They know that if they pass anything that can pass in the Senate, they will get primaried. Or they will get, rather, more importantly, they will be giving ammunition to each other to stab each other in the side and back and throat and, any angle you can stab someone from that isn't brave. That is what they will be doing for primaries and whatnot. So what do? They put forward the most time-wasting, ridiculous policies in order to run for re-election. So they got elected in order to run for re-election. That's what it comes down to. Jim Jordan wants to be the king of that. He wants to be the face of that nonsense. Good Lord, even now, even after Kevin McCarthy just tried the same thing and got embarrassed, I think Jim Jordan looks at that and thinks, I can play it a little bit better than McCarthy. I'm just a little bit savvier. I can make this work for whatever, 8 months, 9 months, a year, however long he thinks he can, and, gain something. Genuinely pathetic. But fortunately, it does give us an opportunity to talk about how Jim Jordan covered up the sexual abuse of athletes that were under his care when he was a wrestling coach. That's who Jim Jordan is. That is the absolute best candidate Republicans could put forward, and they still, regardless, were unable to actually get enough votes, even though they're in the majority, to prevent themselves from embarrassing themselves.
And that's the struggle that we now find ourselves in, watching this narrative unfold and acting and pretending like, oh, there's a plan C, a plan D. There is none. There is none beyond Jim Jordan.
My word. Genuinely a delight. Oh, let's see what y'all have to say. We're still waiting for that to come back. Soul Life, I was hoping to see you yesterday so I could say tell Sticks Happy Moon Day, but I don't know what Tuesday is, so don't tell him. Environmental Coffee House. Jim Jordan is a chaos agent. Yeah, he is. He is, in other words, a perfect Republican. And let's talk about it. I copy this URL and put it in here so I can give the appropriate credit. Why is he a chaos agent? Why, really, when you boil it down to the basics, why is every Republican just a chaos agent? Tell me I have. So, Republicans say government doesn't work. It cannot help you. That's essentially what they are trying to do when they make things small or big government. Are we really going to have to replace this shirt again? Why is it the black I now realize how colors work. I was going to say, why is it that black is showing up on the green screen? It just dawned on me. Anyway, why is it they act the way they do? Why do they say government can't help you? Because their voters tend to be the sort of people that are surrounded by Republicans. So for them, it makes a lot of sense when you say, oh, the only way to ensure a job gets done is to really make sure it's being done by greedy people. Greed needs to be a motivation in any process in order for it to work. You have to privatize things. Otherwise, people won't do them well. That's their mentality. Even if they are not sitting down and thinking that themselves, that is what they are saying. They're saying it must be privatized. There must be a profit motive, in other words, for anything to be done properly. That's the argument they make. And then they try to demonstrate that by getting elected to public office and doing a terrible job. They try to make the government not function. Case in point, look at where we are. Look at all the shutdowns they do. This is how they are happiest. They try to underfund things. They lie to their constituents about what these things do. Remember them lying about the IRS? Literally running cover for billionaires who would have gotten taxed by lying to thousandaires. That's the mentality they have. These are people that don't believe anybody would be moral if there wasn't somebody watching at all times. That is why they claim to be small government, but also are hugely in favor of a surveillance state, and so on and so forth. So Jim Jordan is a classic Republican. He is a standard Republican. And note, he is also a traitor. They have no loyalty. They have no decency. They don't have your interests at heart. They don't even really have their friends' interests at heart. They literally only have their own interests in mind anytime they do anything. And to appoint them to a job whose purpose is to speak on the behalf of multiple people is insane. It's nonsensical. Why would you do that? Never do that. All the elected official is supposed to be, they're not supposed to be some genius. They're not supposed to be some wizard that has these special secret moves that they pull off that somehow allows our lives to function. No, they're just supposed to be one of us. Imagine we all got together next year and said, one of us needs to run. Who's doing it? One of us needs to represent our voice. Because that's how government works. One speaks for a lot, so we find somebody that is good at speaking and shares our opinions. That's what they're supposed to do. So to appoint somebody that doesn't believe that people will ever do anything for each other unless they get bribed to do so, it makes no sense. They're really after Newt Gingrich was around in the 90s. That should right there have been the end of the Republican Party, except that we have major media companies which prop them up. We have idiots amongst the Democrats who say things like, we need Republicans. Can you imagine that? Frickin' Joe Biden, God help us, said, we need strong Republicans. Nancy Pelosi said the same thing. Imagine you're in a sinking ship, and there's one group of people that says, we need to get the lifeboats loaded up now. And there's another group of people who says, nah, the ship's not sinking at all, even though it's almost vertical and getting lower and lower in the water. We need both groups. No, we do not. One group is not helping at all. In fact, they're making the problem worse. We don't need both groups, and you certainly don't need representatives in Congress that aren't interested in representing you and that say that only people who have been bribed will act in anyone else's interest. And even then, they're only going to act in the interest of the people who have bribed them. Republicans just should not represent anyone. Shouldn't certainly be in public office. Oh, dear God, we're still waiting. House is in recess, subject to call of the chair. There's no way that they are not doing a second vote today. I say that realizing that they would not do a second vote unless they had reason to believe that the outcome would be different. But here's why it taking a while is of interest to me. I think Jim Jordan would demand there be another vote if there was even a few more that agreed to vote for him. So it means one of two things. Either the Speaker pro tem does not agree that a decision would be made, in which case, interestingly, they're not listening to Jim Jordan. Or, perhaps more interestingly, in all this time, it's been like an hour since I've last seen him on there. In all this time, he has been unable to get even one more person to support him. I wonder if he's lost some of the people that he bullied into supporting him. Hell, if you want to influence it right now, you could call your representative and tweak their vote. Go pressure them. Right now, they're in their office. Say, give them the opportunity to, when they turn to their assistant, say, have the public been talking about this? What are you saying? Oh, we got an email right here. Somebody says they want you to vote for Hakeem Jeffries, actually. Throw them off. F with them a little bit. Why not? The Find Your Representatives link is on just about every show. I hope y'all have saved it in some capacity on your computer, but what the hell? Let's do it right now. Oh. Put that up, yeah. There it is in the comments if you want it. The anti-corporatist. Yeah, I know all of y'all aren't down with AOC anymore, but I still believe in her. I'm down with AOC, very much so. I do criticize her a lot, but it's just because she's become like a genuine politician, as in like of consequence. She writes legislation, and it's worth considering, and I will rarely fully agree with anyone. But no, I think I think AOC is amongst the best that we have right now. Her, Maxwell Frost, the squad plus Frost, basically. The anti-corporatist also saying, not to both sides it, because they aren't the same, but the corporate Dems are beholden to their donors as well. No, you're quite right. They are. They are. The difference is really in what each side is willing to do to distract their base. And you are the reason corporate Dems don't even bother trying to do some of the truly despicable things that Republicans do. Because you are the base of the corporate Dems, even though they despise that fact and would very much like, really, there just to be no base for anybody. They would like only the rich to vote, like the truly wealthy. They wanted to go back to the mid-90s where like it was just a decision, like politics was just something that suburbanites decided and the rest of us could go suck an egg as far as they cared. But, frustratingly to the corporate Dems, you don't fall for bullshit. So they have to really, really play to the center with their nonsense. But they can stand right next to AOC or whoever and be like, equality is good. I'm not actually going to take any bold action to make that happen. And I'm only going to say vaguely that equality is good. I won't specify exactly what I mean. I'm a corporate Democrat. I take money from big oil and I write legislation that benefits big oil, and then I turn and I give lip service to social justice issues. Corporate Democrat. That's what they are. Whereas a corporate Republican turns and pays lip service after giving money. They take money from big oil, and they in exchange give government money to big oil, and then they turn and pay lip service to terrorists and say, "We love you, terrorists. Oh, keep being terrorists, but we don't actually want you to be terrorists." Jay Dragon, Jake, you're monetized. Baby, I've been monetized. Oh yes. We got there right away, and then I stopped kind of pursuing growing the audience, because once you're monetized, I don't know. I don't see the point beyond getting the ability to make money. Then there's no rush, I guess. Pinker Bell, if Congress is a joke, the joke is at Jim Jordan's expense. I think... Yeah, I think it's at both of their expenses. Looney Tunes, damn YouTube ads. I do want to find a smoother way to do that. Oh, I can pause ads. I just saw that button. Noted. Noted. Wireless Mike, did anyone hear that Biden White House joined? Ha! Yes, Wireless Mike. This is a great one. All right. Wireless Mike says, did anyone hear that the Biden White House joined Truth Central, followed Trump, and said they did it because it would be funny? Yes, and it's amazing. Let's go to it now. Please tell me I saved that link. Please. Hold on. Did I really not? Oh, that's disappointing. All right, we're pulling it up. It's too funny not to do. For you, and for you alone, I got a Truth Social account. White House Truth Social. Oh, it's so good. Yes, at Biden HQ. Let's do it. So this is one of the cleverest this is one of the cleverest things I have seen ever in terms of political whatchamacallits. Political moves, I suppose. The Biden team, to rephrase what was already said by Wireless Mike, the team to get Biden reelected started a Truth Social account. What a genius move. What a genius move. Just on its face. Look at the picture they used. Dark Brandon. They tell you right off the bat what it's going to be. Let's have... This is the only way I feel that he's going to win over Trump voters. He will get like 0.05% of Trump voters to switch to Biden, but he will get some with this kind of nonsense because it's intentional nonsense. All right. So I'm hoping that a certain number of Trump supporters just get bored with Trump's complaining about his various losses. Here's some of the gold that they've put up there. GOP Representative Buck, obviously Republicans don't believe in the rule of law if we are willing to say the 2020 election results were accurate. Embarrassing. Fox host and former Trump official. I give Biden credit. Yes, I give Biden credit. He said that between martinis. Oh God, this is the kind of ads you get on Truth Social. Trump's gift to Americans, an IRS loophole left open by Donald Trump, could be the key to fighting inflation in your retirement account. Advantage Gold. So here's my question. Did Trump pose for that? No, he didn't. Am I supposed to believe that he's holding those gold coins in such a way that he's keeping them vertical? Like, clearly that's just like a PNG that somebody photoshopped into his hands, but why wouldn't you take into account the physics of it? What effing hat is he wearing there? Is that supposed to evoke something that other people are familiar with? Anyway, gold scams. That's basically all Truth Social is run by. Biden-Harris HQ, getting back to the good stuff. Sanchez, what message does this GOP chaos send to the world? GOP Representative Alford, it does not send a good message, to tell you the truth. Just popping this up there. Just popping it up. Love it. Let's see some of the butthurt Republicans. Oh, I'm not going to log in on OBS. I don't want sensitive information shared. Fox reporter, when McCarthy tries to blame Republicans' chaos on Democrats, Republicans voted against Jim Jordan today on the floor. Ooh. DeSantis attacks Haley and doubles down on calling all Palestinians in Gaza anti-Semitic. She's trying to be politically correct. Haley, it's good that President Biden is going to Israel. Just all these, they're trolling, folks. They're just pulling moments from things that happened and pointing out the obvious and doing the Lord's work, frankly. And whoever is the social media gal or guy or whatever for the White House is earning their pay 1,000 times over. I can think of few better uses of one's time than trolling a fashy traitor on their own little private newsletter platform that they put out. This would be like if a Jewish car manufacturer took out ads in Henry Ford's super racist anti-Semitic newspaper, pro-Hitler newspaper that he put in all of his dealerships. if Levi, I don't know what a classic Jewish last name is, something with a Witz in it. Oh wait, that's Polish. Anyway, if a Jewish guy took out an ad, if I would have thought of the name, that gag might have been funnier. Great job, Biden-Harris White House. Oh, I can't get over malarkey ends here. That's the cover photo they use. Oh God, I love Dark Brandon dearly. I'm lukewarm at best on Joe Biden, but Dark Brandon I'm a huge fan of. Anti-corporatist talking to Environmental Coffee House. I still see way too many Trump signs all over the place, and they're usually huge. I wonder if somebody puts a political sign out in their front yard, are they inviting you to come talk politics with them? I mean, we know how these don't go up to their doors because we know how these people are. They shoot through the door. They're vicious and cowardly if they're a Trump supporter. They are they exist in a constant state of terror at the outside world. They're afraid to look outside and experience anything from there, and they're afraid to look inside and think for even just 5 minutes. But if in theory it were safe to go anywhere near these fools, I would wonder, are they inviting you? with those big signs, to come talk to them. If they are, say, standing outside watering their plants and you can see that they're unarmed, I would still assume that they have some sort of confidence booster on them, maybe tucked in their waistlines or whatever. But if you are voting for Trump these days, it is because you have been misguided. Even if you are a villainous person, even if you're Trump's daughter, it just doesn't help anyone to vote for Trump. You are misguided if you vote for him, and you are in need of education. I wonder if you're opening yourself up to that conversation by, in terms of manners, I wonder, by putting that sign out there. The anti-corporatists, the big signs are usually in the middle of huge fields on the side of the freeway. Interesting. To be continued. Styx Dragon, listening from Shade's phone, extra lurk mode. Okay, fair enough. Environmental Coffee House. The same people have a big Save the Children sign with an upside down heart. I wonder if they realize how many children are victimized by their church. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I would say this. Joking and ripping of Republicans aside, generally, if somebody is putting these kinds of signs out there, they truly are misinformed, and they truly are harming us all and endangering children by continuing to be misinformed. And I do think we have a duty to be evangelical. I realize I use religious terms a lot. I think there's nothing wrong with looking at how groups that we may not necessarily be a part of, although a lot of us are a part of, by the way, but we may not necessarily be a part of, as inspiration. And I think the evangelicals are correct in one thing. If you truly believe that not believing what they believe equals you go to hell at the end, you do have an obligation to go try to stop people from experiencing that. Similarly, I truly believe that human beings are increasing the temperature on the planet, and that all life in the universe as we know it is reliant on this planet staying a certain, in a certain window of temperature. And so we have an obligation to try our best to communicate with these people. So learn to be good at it. It's a hell of a lot easier if you're good. It's easier to shovel dirt if you got big muscles. It's easier to box if you box, and it is easier to have political conversations if you do it a lot. Work on talking to these people. Understand you don't need to sell them on the whole context, the whole concept, but have frank conversations with these people. And more importantly, just make sure they don't feel comfortable being that wrong. They should know that if they're that publicly wrong, even if nobody in particular changes their mind, they should expect to get friction for it. They should expect to have annoying conversations frequently. And it's not the end of the world. They can learn to live with it. I was a little atheist boy, and I learned to live with religious types trying to save me all the time. And guess what? They never swayed me. But I was okay nonetheless. And these MAGA types will be okay nonetheless. You have a sign right there. Yeah. Why do you support somebody that tried to make your vote irrelevant? I worry that you've got some wrong information. Let's talk about that. Hey, if I'm wrong, I want to know it too. But there's no way you and I have the same information, so let's find out who's right. Just try. As often as you can find the excuse to try. Looney Tunes 9000, the moral is keep religion out of politics and schools. Yes, it cheapens both the religion and the politics. Anti-corporatists, let me go back up. Talking to Wireless Mike there. Spray paint is more portable, says Wireless Mike. That's fair. The anti-corporatists frequently on the side of semi-trailers. I do think it's been a long time since I've updated this. I would like to with y'all. You guys remember the the unsubscribe challenge? I want to do something else like that, but I feel that it's it's asking too much. It requires too much of a close relationship to exist. You have to have somebody who's willing to sit down with you already and watch media together. That's a close friend or family, frankly. Or an unfortunate person next to you on the plane, in which case you shouldn't make their plane ride that much worse, because nobody likes talking to people. But there should be a lighter version. Help me think of something. What is something we could do where we challenge people's belief systems and contrast them with our own? Similar to the unsubscribe challenge. I would like to see something like that. Let me know. But the idea is to engage with the misguided and effing guide them already. Mars Falcon, they don't care. Yeah, I agree they don't care. They don't actually, in my assumption, I don't think these people believe most of what they say they believe. However, what they are refusing to talk about in their belief system is still wrong. Even the secret, quiet little things that are the real reason they're doing most of the things they do, that's wrong as well. They are operating on the earth with a set of circumstances which make no sense. So we are not going to make any progress towards undoing that by just leaving them alone. Those days must end. We've tried that for 5-6 years now. We've tried to just let them work it out, and I think we now have an obligation to reach out to them. Not only because it will make the job of electing sane people easier. And by the way, our goal with Republicans should not be come vote for my guy. It should be to just convince them that they should stay home. Truly, they understand so little about the way the world works that it would be best for them and everybody else if they stayed home, read a couple books, and did not bother the rest of us for a couple of election cycles. You can find a gentler way to put it, but that is what they need to come to the understanding of. However, we tried leaving them alone, and all that happens is they come up with increasingly fantastical lore that they pretend to believe in order to get away with doing some really base and evil things to people. Still waiting. The anti-corporatists, man, they're just constantly brainwashed. Someone seriously needs to do something about the right-wing propaganda networks. Truly. Looney Tunes 9000. Well, let me start with that, actually. Let me read Looney Tunes, and I'll come back to you. Looney Tunes 9000, exactly. This isn't the 1960s. It's 2023. Wake the hell up, Republicans. Agreed. Tinkerbell, I think for the benefit of our communities and political project, there is a need to develop a secular alternative to the social role fulfilled by attending church. Easier said than done here. Yeah, let me tell you why I, as an atheist, want there to be churches. A church is a place where I know people will gather on Sunday. So if there's an emergency on a Sunday, I know where to run to go to inform people. If there's an emergency on a Saturday, I know to go to the synagogue. Ditto for Wednesday and Friday and yada, yada, yada. It's just a useful place to know where people are going to be at certain times. A group of people. If I want to make a little money, I can set up a shoe shine stand outside one of these places. Doesn't bother them. In fact, it's a benefit to them. They get a shoe shine stand outside of their place of worship. I get however much one charges for shoe shines. there is a coexistence there, which is hugely beneficial. And I do agree there ought to be a secular version. There's also a reason to go physically outside as those things dwindle, because our needs are less and less related to the outside. I wholeheartedly agree. I think a library or a community center is a great place to start. But generally speaking, the place that you have that would be wherever the DSA meets, or what is that church that lets everybody perform marriages? I should know. I got a marriage license issuing certificate from them. Unitarian Universalist. Yeah. Go there. It's as close to a secular church as you can get as well. But I agree. I think that would be of huge benefit. But that said, I also want there to be the old-fashioned churches as well. And I hope there are genuine believers of that religion for any religion, Muslim, Sikh, what the hell's the one where you don't do technology? Amish, I don't know. It's good. It's healthy. The letter heck, we used to have punk shows in the Unitarian church basement. Yeah, Unitarians are rad. They are genuinely good people. Humanist, secular humanist. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. There should be a secular humanist church. Wireless Mike. Churches, when operated correctly, are meant to be a place for people who need community and fellowship. Not everybody can do well on their own. I have no problem with the community aspect. Agreed. Matt from the Letter Hack. I have been calling you Matthew over and over because I heard in one interview you said that you prefer Matthew. But everybody calls you Matt, and now I feel like I'm the lame guy that doesn't pick up on things. So just spell it out for me, man. Let me know exactly what you want your old pal Jake to call you, and I'll do that. Also, good God, are we taking bets? When are they going to come back? Let's see what CNN has to say. Oh, God, that's a Truth Social. Oh, quick reminder, AI accountability policy request for comment. The National Telecommunications and Information Administration they have a form requesting that you put in your comments with how AI should be handled by the United States. That form is pinned in the comments. I recommend you use it. Our goal here should be to make sure, at the very least, that the people who made the images used to train AI, or the information used to train AI, get compensation, as well as, in my opinion, that AI be clearly labeled as AI in any issue where it's used. We should not have to guess on that. All right, so here's a quick update for the first round for the U.S. House speakers. Just want to really stress the Republicans have the majority, and yet this is how the votes shook out. Representative Hakeem Jeffries for the Democrats got 212 votes. Representative Jim Jordan could only manage 200. And 20 people voted for randos. That's amazing. Jordan said he plans to go back on the floor for a second vote later today. As far as I'm concerned, what time are we at? Yeah, we're at later today. Separately, a source told CNN Jordan is prepared to go as many ballots as it takes to win. Reading from CNN here, they say this matters because the House, which has been without a speaker for 2 weeks following Kevin McCarthy's historic ouster, remains effectively frozen. It's a dire situation that comes as Congress faces a government funding deadline in mid-November. Folks, it's right around the corner. about 30 days away, in mid-November, and as a crisis unfolds abroad in Ukraine and with Israel's war against Hamas. Jordan holdouts demand immediate second vote. 5 minutes ago. This is from CNN's Melanie Zanona. I should probably, it occurs to me, show you this. Sometimes it takes your old pal Jake a minute to, because he's not terribly bright. Here we go. Grand Old Party, a.k.a. Republican Representative Mario Diaz-Balart, who voted against Representative Jim Jordan for Speaker on Tuesday's first ballot, sent a letter to interim House Speaker Patrick McHenry. You know, the little guy who was so angry with his big old gavel, and he pounded it, and he was like, that guy. Demanding an immediate second vote on electing a new speaker. Representative Steve Womack of Arkansas and House Appropriations Chair Kay Granger, two other Republican criminal Jordan holdouts, said they agree. The vote has not yet been scheduled, but Jordan's team has vowed to force another floor vote today. Okay. Sounds like all the Republicans are champing at the bit. Ooh, we want to vote again. Ooh. And Democrats are slow and smooth and comfy and say, yeah, we'll vote whenever, baby. Hakeem Jeffries, by the way. 53 minutes ago, also from Melanie Zanona and Manu Raju. Jordan is at risk of seeing his opposition grow through multiple ballots, sources say. This, folks, that's the best case scenario. If his opposition continues to grow, we'll go into it in a minute. Let me read this first. As Representative Jim Jordan is now meeting with a number of allies to sway key holdouts, GOP sources, good job, by the way, folks, on pressuring folks not to vote for Jordan. I assume this is because of your work yesterday. Well done. GOP sources say his opposition could grow if the votes continue for multiple rounds of ballots. Jordan is now meeting with key chairmen and top Republicans in House Majority Whip Tom Emmer's office as they try to lean on holdouts and make offers to win their support. Lean on being pressure. Remember, these are criminals. Why is it ideal for us if opposition grows for Jim Jordan? Well, first of all, Jim Jordan is an actual traitor. He literally tried to undo democracy in the United States. He cannot be speaker. No, he can be. We can survive him being speaker. That would be terrible. That would be extraordinarily dangerous. That should not be. That would be the sort of thing where we would never want to see Kamala Harris and Joe Biden in the same room again, simply out of fear that Jordan would have somebody with a Lee Harvey Oswald mentality ready to go. That is how dangerous he is. Second, it highlights for the American people what an absolute clown show the Republican Party has become. They've always been evil. They have always been criminal. But now they are cartoonish and silly. What I would recommend y'all do during this is get your phone out and text anybody who is got even a mild interest in politics in your social circle and mention to them how this is going. This looks terrible for Republicans. Good. Everybody should understand how dangerous Republicans are, how incompetent they are, and how dangerously incompetent they are. They literally, with the majority, cannot elect a speaker. When they finally got one after 15 votes, 60, I don't know, after the mid-teens number of votes that it took, they couldn't hold on to them because they are fools. They cannot be trusted to run anything. Lauren Boebert, when she ran her own business, poisoned a bunch of rodeo clowns and got her business shut down because she was too much of a filthy person. I mean, literally, because she was too much of an unsanitary person to run a business. I'm looking down on her for being unsanitary with my swollen ass, baby infected eye. I'm looking down on her. Wrap your mind around that. They cannot run a business. They cannot run the government. They certainly cannot run the government. And more important to whether or not they are capable, which, again, this is the time to demonstrate they are not capable. Whether or not they are capable, setting that aside, then the answer is, should they be trusted? No! These are the worst human beings we have. They are literally the worst Americans, would be Republican politicians. And if somebody supports them, if somebody has anything good to say about these punks, then they're misguided, and we have an opportunity to set the record straight. That's simple. I'm enjoying the hell out of just this screen and kicking them in the ribs over and over as they're down. Never do that to somebody in real life. You always let them stand back up, or whatever. But for God's sake, I'll kick these punks, the Republican Party, metaphorically, over and over as they are having issues now because they're awful, and it's funny, and I enjoy it. Good God Almighty! Let's see what y'all have to say while I continue to clown on these clowns. Environmental Coffee House. I have to run also. I'm a moderator on Nicole Sandler's show, and she's live now. Have fun, Sandy. Have fun. That sounds cool. She ran a joint that caused uncontrollable ass leakage. Bare minimum. Not even approached, let alone met. 100%. 100%. Looney Tunes 9000, so no second vote. It does look like they're going to do one, but I'll tell you what. I thought for sure we were going to have it in the 4 o'clock hour. We've blown past that. It's now 5 o'clock. I'll keep watching this. No promises as to when the second show will be today, but it is a 2 for Tuesday. There will be a second show, and I plan to start it just whenever this vote comes back because I want to watch them suffer, and I enjoy it immensely. And I enjoy hanging out with y'all, so hopefully y'all will return when they do. But I'm going to jet. Because I want to keep you on the line. I don't want to vamp if they're not going to be back in the next hour or whatever. This has been WYCD Wicked. That stands for What You Can Do. Thanks for hanging out with me for this. We're going to keep making fun of Republicans later. My name's Jake.